Oh, I think I got audio. Can you guys hear me?
I think so.
Ah, progress. Okay, no video, but we have audio. That's great. I think I talk faster than I type. Okay, I was just about to type whether anyone has questions, had any questions, still has questions on Watkins assignment / paper. You can chat or type or speak. Was anything difficult to find in that Watkins paper, or was it okay? I saw most of you got it uploaded.
I thought it wasn't that bad, especially you had the guide part on the top, and then the questions were laid out like piece by piece, so not too bad for me.
Good. Yeah, I think it's sort of challenging. You know, we've most of the semester focused on working together and, helping each other with these papers. So I'm not going to be assigning a lot of papers like this, where you have to like try to grapple with things somewhat on your own. Hopefully you guys can work together a little bit. I know that's really hard right now. So I was just hoping this one, it's a pretty short paper, one main figure. So I was hoping it wouldn't be too bad. Okay. Well, I don't know how long to wait and see if there were any questions, but remember, you can always ask questions at any time, before things are due as well. Finding review articles, that was another thing I just wanted to touch base on. So 1 week from today, your first draft is due, and I'm suggesting that a review article is probably going to be the best kind of article to use for those kinds of questions about diagnosis and treatment. So going to PubMed is probably the easiest way to find the review article, just to remind you. So I'm just going to type that in. It's ncbi.nlm, and you can find this by Googling also, nih.gov, and then /PubMed. So that's, oh, okay, I put an extra O. Let's try it again. NCBI, LM, NIH, Gov, PubMed. Okay, so the second one there is the correct one. If you go there to that URL and type in the name of your disease, the word and then the word review, you should pull up good review articles that will give you good information that you can use to cite and use sources for that first draft. Has anyone had a hard time finding a review article? Any difficulties finding review articles? You can unmute yourself if you want to talk, or you can type. If you haven't looked yet, today's a good day to look, and let me know if you get stuck, right? So I can help you get papers. The reason I want you to hurry, not hurry, but kind of get moving on it is because you may need to get interlibrary loan. If we don't have free access to these papers, then CMU will get them for us at no charge from a different library, but that takes a day or two usually. So planning ahead is going to be important for those. Again, just let me know if you get stuck and I can help you. Upcoming things that we have for Thursday, there's a short reading guide on cystic fibrosis and cloning genes that's going to be helpful as we think about moving on to sections 4 and 5 of the paper. So obviously that's not what you're working on right now, but we're going to learn about how genes are cloned after you map them. So this week, that would be the next thing to work on. It's just 7 questions, and then be working on the paper. Yeah, and that's a really good question, whether interlibrary loan is going to continue. So at this point, Everything I've heard is that the library staff is considered essential, which I would agree, they really are. They are helping us a lot at this time. So as far as I know, yes, we should still have interlibrary loan. Any other questions about getting started on the paper or anything else going on this week? Any suggestions for how we're doing anything? Feel free to forward those at any time. Okay, well, that's kind of like what's been on my list. Okay, I'm glad the narrated PowerPoints are helpful. It feels really awkward to make them, I have to tell you. I've never made them before, but I can see that, you know, having a little extra explanation beside just the text on there, hopefully helps you make the connections, right? I was going to ask about those. Here's my question about those. I'm trying to keep them like 15 to 20 minutes. I know that there's some best practices to make them even shorter, to kind of like chunk the material and make multiple of them. Would anyone strongly prefer more of them that are shorter? Or is it okay to have a 15 to 20 minute one? All right, so far people think they're okay. I mean, obviously you can always pause them. I guess I couldn't figure out exactly what the big advantage would be. The files get really big if you make them too long, but I kind of thought that the 15 to 20 minute range might be okay. And I kind of agree with that I would personally feel like having to open multiple of them would, I don't know, somehow feel a little more laborious. But if, you know, whatever works for you guys, I'm happy to make multiple of them if that is better. But so far, no one seems to think that that would be better. So we'll kind of try to stick with how we're doing it. Okay, so sometimes they're even longer. I believe that. I believe that. We still like to talk, us professors. And we all miss you, you know. We like to see you in class and we like to talk, and it's all really weird not to see you guys. Any other suggestions? Any other questions? You can feel free to ask at any point. Oh, here's kind of a comment, I guess, about the review articles, like how recent it is. That's actually a question that comes up pretty routinely. So for different diseases, we've known about some of them for a really long time, and we've not known about others as long, or, you know, had much information about them. So, you know, it's going to vary, I think, depending on what disease you're working on, like what's going to be appropriate. But if you have any, well, part of the whole point of having the draft is I'm going to be looking at these papers. So, you know, I'll be able to give you feedback on if you're choosing good paper. I mean, that's part of the whole point of the draft. So the point of the draft is not to have a perfect paper. That's why we call it a draft. The point is just to get started, and I can give you feedback on if your sources look like they're good, and if you're, you know, kind of answering all the questions I want you to answer. Any other questions at all on anything? All right, well, feel free to touch base at any point if you get stuck working on, excuse me, Thursday's assignment. Let me know or reach out to someone else in class. And good luck finding those review articles. I'll stay on for a little while if anybody has anything else they want to ask. Oh yeah, that's a good question about how many review articles you need. If you find one really good, thorough review article, that may be enough to answer most of what you have, or maybe even all of what you need to address in sections 1 through 3. You may find that as you continue working on later sections of the paper, that you find some other articles that you could then kind of go back and add as sources for those first parts. But definitely one, I would say, is the minimum. Question about whether review articles for everything in sections 1 through 3. So first, I guess I should say you don't have to use review articles. If you find primary research articles, that's fine. I just think that's less likely for the kinds of questions, especially in section 1. Although you may find that, hey, they figured out this is an autosomal recessive disease, and you may find some pretty old paper, most likely, that figured out the inheritance of that disease by looking at pedigrees. But for most cases, what I've seen is that most students use review articles for most of what they are citing in sections 1 through 3. But again, it's definitely not the case that it has to be review articles. It can be a mix, whatever works, whatever you're finding in your lit searches. Oh, hey, there's a video right at the end. Great. Okay, hopefully that'll work better on Thursday. Yeah, we always love technology. That is the truth. Yes, indeed. Have a good day, everyone.
Hi, Dr. Spiza.
Hello.
This is Hannah. Hannah Chadwick.
Hi, Hannah.
So I have not started looking at Marfan syndrome yet, but I plan to later today. It's just been kind of hectic with everything. But I was wondering if you had any any sources that are particularly helpful, or any like general information on the disease, or where to start.
Yeah, I think other students have chosen that topic in past years, and I think you won't have a hard time, I don't think, finding a good review article because that disease has been pretty well studied. So I would definitely, first step, go to PubMed and type in Marfan syndrome and review, and then it'll pull up only review articles. And you'll be able to take a quick look at least the abstract of those.
Okay.
Yeah. And if if you're not sure, feel free to email me what you find. If you just want to kind of confirm that it looks like a good choice.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I also wanted to thank you for being such a supportive professor during this time. it's been very reassuring and kind of relaxing to know that we're not the only ones struggling with this transition. And it makes us feel better to know that someone's on our side and is here to support us. So I wanted to thank you for that.
Oh, well, you're very welcome. I think this is really hard. You know, you guys didn't sign up for an online class, and I mean, neither did I, but you know, we just gotta work through it together and figure out what's reasonable, you know? I
Yeah.
think, you know, the other thing I was gonna say, and I guess I'll just say it here because then it'll be on the recording, but I'll put it, I think an announcement is gonna be coming. There's gonna be a meeting, well, maybe it was even yesterday. So then I think there's gonna be the conclusion of some meeting that was recently held on campus about the option to have classes pass-fail. And that might be not an option that, you know, everyone wants to take. I think it will be an option. If you want the grades, that's fine. But I think perhaps in some classes for some students, hopefully that will remove some of the stress.
Yeah, I've heard people talking about that. But if that was a question I had. Thank you for bringing that up. If they allow us to have the option for pass-fail classes, is it always an option to still have the grade if you would prefer the grade?
As far as I know, that's the policy they're considering. You know, I've been following like what's going on at other universities pretty closely, and it is a mix, but when I talked to actually like the chair of the academic senate, who would be like one of the faculty people like talking with the administrators about this, I made it clear to him that, you know, I would strongly prefer students have to have the option, and best case scenario, like you would 100% know your grade, right? And you would like say, okay, look, I got a B+ in whatever class. So either I'm going to take that B+, or, you know, maybe for some reason you would want to translate that into a pass, right? So you would be like really well informed before you would make the choice.
Right.
Yeah. So hopefully that's what's going to happen, but obviously it hasn't been announced yet. But I think it's coming for sure this week.
Okay. All right. That's a little bit more reassuring because I personally do well in most of my science classes, and I would prefer them to stay graded, and it also helps me out in applying for grad school. So
Absolutely. No, I think there's a lot of situations where students are going to want their grades, you know, and especially if you've worked really hard and you have a good grade, you know, after, you know, half or 2/3 of the class, it's like, you know, you
give me
wouldn't,
the grade.
yeah, you wouldn't want to be like, oh yeah, sure, I'll just go with a pass.
Yeah. All right. Well, those were my questions that I had. So I'm going to sign off. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you for everything. And I'll see you on Thursday.
Okay, sounds good, Hannah. Have a good day.
You too.